And good morning on Thursday, April 13th. Welcome to episode 210 of the 359 podcast. I'm BVG. Thanks for joining. In the house today, we've got Ben Fox Rubin and Roger Chang. What's up, guys?
Hey, morning.
Hello.
How's everybody doing?
I'm back.
Doing great. You're back. You've been gone for seemingly forever.
Yeah,
Happy Passover, everybody.
kind of forgot you.
Yeah.
I was off the grid eating matzah, so I'm very happy to be back. And
That sounds wonderful.
yeah.
Sounds
Well,
like a
we
good
had
time.
we had some tough years in Egypt, and I'm glad everything worked out okay.
Wow. Way to take it to its natural extreme.
Right.
All right.
You
so,
picked a good day to come back on, because what are we talking about?
Yeah, we've got a relatively slow tech news day. So we're going to be talking about Josh Brolin being cast in the next Deadpool movie as Cable, and whether or not that confuses everything since he's already Thanos in Avengers.
Which is a big deal.
Which is
Thanos
a huge deal.
Huge character.
Oh, yeah.
Literally.
Yes.
We're gonna be
he's
talking about
literally
that.
Gigantic.
We're going to be talking about Silicon Valley gearing up for its net neutrality fight. And lastly, we'll be talking about Microsoft rolling out a program to let gamers get refunds on their Xbox games, which is nice.
is just good customer
That's nice.
service.
Aw.
Why
Yeah.
didn't they do that earlier?
That's sweet.
All right, as always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Brian will pick out the best, and we'll get to them in 3 minutes and 59 seconds.
From 3, 2...
Welcome to the 359, where we talk about the top tech news of the day and all of the crap we want to throw in. I'm Roger Chang.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
So we decided to geek out a little today. Josh Brolin was cast as Cable in the next Deadpool movie, and our minds are blown. He's now playing two Marvel characters. So does that mean, him double dipping means that we don't actually get a crossover between the Avengers and X-Men universe?
Which would be sad.
That is kind of sad.
Which
right?
would be sad, but I kind of feel like Deadpool doesn't really fit as much with the Avengers universe in the movies.
True.
Right?
The
Because they're-
R-rated Deadpool, cursing, violently killing people.
yeah. Which
don't know.
what made it such an interesting movie
Yes.
is that it was kind of this refresh or a totally different version.
But from a broader point, though, does that also exclude the idea of the X-Men universe, which is owned by Fox, integrating with the Marvel universe, which is owned by Disney?
Yeah, I mean it obviously makes it much more difficult.
Right.
And the potential of Cable killing Thanos. Now you're just going
Oh
to
my
have to use a
God.
lot more computer graphics.
They could do it.
They could do
absolutely
it. I'm hoping it happens. I don't think Cable would actually. First of all, what are Cable's skills? What makes
Brian?
Brian?
You know
Our
this.
producer.
You absolutely know this.
It's a form of energy conversion, I think.
There's something with telekinesis too, right?
Yeah, because he's the son of
Cyclops.
Cyclops and Jean Grey.
Right.
So he's kind of got a little bit of the best of both worlds there.
I just remember his eye flashed a lot. I don't
Yes.
know why.
That was
but
more
it
of an
fla-
aesthetic.
Okay.
It's
I was
more of a
like, it looks
badass.
cool for sure.
Just to look interesting.
I have to comment, by the way, Josh Brolin is perfectly. I thought he was perfectly cast for Thanos, but he's also kind of perfectly cast for Cable.
Yeah,
he
he's
looks
got
like
the right-
Cable.
he's got the right chin,
Like a
and
blocky
jaw
look.
structure
Right,
for
right.
both. He just looks
And
like
And when you look at Cable in the comic books, he doesn't actually look like a real human character. He's like 3 times wider than a normal human being.
Well,
Yes.
that's because Rob Liefeld has a hard time drawing people.
right. overly masculinized, whatever, which is what you think about when you see Josh Brolin's face.
Absolutely. All right, next up, Silicon Valley is gearing up for the net neutrality fight. The Internet Association, a trade group made up of companies like Google, Facebook, and Netflix, have officially voiced their objection to the FCC and President Trump's plans to dismantle the rules that govern how the internet work. Yeah,
I mean,
happy,
it
sad?
really seems like everybody is playing the part that they were expected to play. This doesn't seem at all surprising to me. The real questions here are: is net neutrality definitely going to go away, or
Right.
is there something that these major companies can do to prevent this from happening? Because on the other side of the coin are other major companies like Comcast and AT&T
Verizon, yep.
and Verizon that want to see net neutrality go away. So,
Right.
does anybody have an edge right now?
I mean, I would say the sort of anti-net neutrality side has the advantage right now because, President Trump, Republican, the FCC is run by the Republicans, and generally Republicans have been for laxer rules when it comes to net neutrality. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, it's great these guys are coming in, but I'm a little skeptical that it'll actually make a difference. But we'll see. Lastly, Microsoft is rolling out a new option to members of its Insider program that allow for refunds of games within 14 days of purchase, as long as the game hasn't been played for less or for more than 2 hours. It's something Steam already offers, but that's that's kind of nice. But have you ever returned a game,
I mean, a digital game?
either
But that
digital
would-
or physical?
I would probably say that I've never returned like an iTunes album, and
Right.
sometimes you play like one song, and you're like, "Why did I just
believe that-
spend $10 on
I've
that?"
asked for a refund on an app once, but I
Yeah.
think it's because I mistakenly bought it.
I just think this is good customer service. This is a smart thing to do, and I like that they're doing it.
Right. All right. For more stories or for that story and more, check us out on CNET. Roger Chang.
I'm Ben Fox Rubin.
Thanks for listening.
I've returned games before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's done the trade-in program.
Wait. You're talking about digital games or physical games? Because everybody, physical games is different.
but this is just for digital.
This is just for digital,
Yeah,
which they have to create this new type of system for it, because for physical games, there's this entire industry
Yeah.
that's set up for trade-ins, and I've sold games on like the Amazon Marketplace.
Yeah. I joined that like GameStop membership program because I was able to like turn in games for free and like basically get a new one.
But they don't make it as easy when it comes to digital copies of things.
Yeah.
So
Well, no,
it's
that's
more
Not
convenient.
necessarily true. Like Steam actually makes it pretty easy
Mhm.
for you to return those games. So I mean, it's really Microsoft kind of getting up to that level.
Right.
So it's nice that they're kind of matching Steam's offer. But
I mean, it's an interesting idea. It's long overdue for sure.
You're spending $60 on these games, so it's nice that you have an exit hatch if you need one. Because otherwise
it's
you're
also
a
a good
little
way
more.
to it's also a good way to preview these games, right? Like
Mhm.
you've got a 2-hour limit. I mean, that gives you a good chunk of time to experience what the game is like. to
Right.
make sure you want to commit to it. Right.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
kind of miss the glory days of the digital demo download. That's kind
Right.
of fallen a little bit.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I know it hasn't gone away, but it's definitely not as robust as it was. I remember when I first got my Xbox 360 back many moons ago. That was kind of a nice feature, was signing up for Xbox Live and just trying
Yep.
demos all over the place. I
Yep.
loved that.
Yeah.
I took way more advantage of that than I probably should have.
It's okay. They're making it available for you, so yeah.
All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or the giant purple space
Let's
Guy
do
with
it.
Demon.
infinity rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I get to really participate in the show today.
Oh, please
I know.
do.
Yeah.
'Cause I know
Brian-
comics.
You're gonna lead
Brian
this
is
conversation.
our resident expert when it comes to this stuff.
So I mean, what do you guys? I'm curious to. I think Ben, you're the least initiated in the room.
No, but
It's probably
but you are
true.
like a pretty hardcore Thanos. Like you read the. Thanos
I mean, I
Quest.
knew Thanos Quest from back in the day. I used to be a
that's the thing,
comic book
you,
nerd.
You know more about that than I do.
It's been a while. I have those Thanos Quest comic books back home, so maybe I should like polish them off.
Dust them
before.
off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before the actual movies come
Maybe
out.
when we finally run out of material, we'll just have you read the comic for the podcast. Like, all right, Ben. let
Those
her
are
rip.
really good stories. I mean, I know
I'm
I'm sure a lot of people are really excited to see those movies. I guess one of my, in my naivete, I had actually thought that maybe there was going to be some sort of cresting to, or like we had reached peak comic book movie,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
apparently
yeah.
that's not happening anytime
I
soon.
mean, you saw the Thor Ragnarok trailer. Like, apparently, it's their most viewed trailer,
I'm
Yeah.
so stoked
Of all
for that.
time.
Yeah.
which is justified because that thing's awesome. And I've
Pure
watched it like
fan
I've watched it
service.
like 10 times
Also,
over.
come on, Zeppelin,
Yeah,
you've
I
already
know.
won my heart.
But this is
know.
the thing: is that like how long have comic book movies, like these big epic comic book movies, been coming out? Like it's been 10 years now. Like they are
Well,
really
go back
milking
to
this thing.
go back to the OG. Go back to where the boom really started, was probably X-Men.
Yeah,
We're going on
Mhm.
20 years now.
yeah.
20 years.
I
There
mean,
was I feel like there
the-
was a bit of a gap there where
Sure,
like, the
but that
quality
was
of the movies kind
where-
of dipped.
Where people's attention started to turn back around after Batman and Robin say, "Oh wait, there's still potential here."
That's
that
true.
was
That's
X-Men.
true.
That was Spider-Man, and then
Right.
Marvel like loaded every bullet they had and just started rapid firing.
But you're right. There was a while there where it was just the Batman movies,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
they were really hit or miss. Like, and they weren't nearly.
No, they were
as,
just terrible.
They weren't really as high impact. They all basically existed in Arkham.
There was a
and-
ceiling. There was it's just a comic book movie.
Right.
Right,
It's just
As opposed to like
silly,
these
silly
these
guys in capes.
huge, like, basically like
Modern mythology.
world spanning,
Yep.
like not just like global stories. These are like universe spanning stories.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
All interconnected, all linked. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Let's get a
and
little
there's
dialogue.
a lot more to come, apparently.
Let's get a little dialogue going. Everyone in the chat, what was your absolute worst, least favorite? Like, what was the trough in your comic book movie experience, and what was your peak? What was your favorite?
I feel like
trough.
the trough is so obvious.
Which one?
Batman versus Superman. Like that was just
No. It's a bad movie, but I don't think it's the worst. I mean, like,
it was pretty bad.
I thought,
Dude, have
I
you
thought the
s-
Fantastic Four movies were all
Oh,
pretty
okay. I could
terrible.
not even finish those
Yeah.
movies.
Or the
Yeah.
original Incredible Hulk, or the Hulk, just Hulk.
Have you
The
seen
You are
Steel?
making a good argument for that. No.
Oh, Steel. That's right. I
Is
never
that a
watched.
movie?
I never watched it. It was starred Shaq
Mm.
as
John Henry Irons.
John Henry Irons. Yeah, who
Yeah.
was like wears a metal suit or something.
Okay.
Nothing to
okay.
do.
You
I
never-
guys,
I never-
you guys
I
have
never watched
seriously one-upped me.
I've never watched it, but it just looks really, really bad. Like the suit is supposed to be metallic, but it's clearly like leather or something. Like
Mhm.
it's not. It's not a good movie.
It's really terrible.
Right. And Batman
Oh,
versus
Daredevil.
sorry,
original
Batman and
Daredevil.
Robin was very well known as like a classic horrible.
Oh,
I mean,
it killed the franchise for
Yeah.
years, right?
Well, that was it. That was the bottom out in the industry. That
Mhm.
was the 1983 pre-Nintendo video game bomb
Right.
of comic books before X-Men jumped back into the game.
yeah.
you said 83? You mean
Nin-
93?
93.
93. Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about I'm comparing it to like when video game industry
Oh.
bottomed out and they thought like, okay,
Yeah.
well
Oh,
that's
yeah,
it.
yeah.
They-
Yeah,
that
yeah.
was essentially what happened to comic book movies
Mhm.
Right.
because of Joel Schumacher.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's yeah. We were talking about this earlier. Like, when do we hit peak comic book movie?
Apparently it hasn't happened.
It hasn't
yet.
happened. Well, I don't think it's gonna happen until at least like Avengers comes around. Like, I think everyone's waiting for Avengers because that's the culmination of all these movies from basically from Avengers 1, right, where
Mhm.
they tease Thanos. After that, I don't know. Like, how do they one up that? Like, that's these movies are all about escalation, right?
They've definitely done a good job of building it up.
The
over
ultimate
course of
crossover.
years.
Warner Brothers and Disney meet in the middle and we get Justice League versus Avengers.
Ooh,
I mean, like
that would make
that did
gajillions of
happen in the
dollars.
comic books, right?
A couple times.
Yeah,
Something-
yeah,
yeah.
it's happened.
It didn't make a like. Was that successful as a comic book
Oh, sure.
effort?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't the most critically acclaimed, but it sold like bonkers.
Yeah, because they
It-
just all they had to do is put two teams in the room and just have them fight each other for a while
It just seems
until they
so
find out there's a
hectic.
greater menace and they have to team up. It's always how-
Exactly. Yeah.
It's always how it's like it's completely formulaic. So
Nubs in the chat loves Deadpool. Wow, Chad TV did not like the Avengers. That is
Wow.
shocking. Which
Oh,
you
by
talking
the
the first
way,
one or the
shout out
Age of
to-
Ultron?
Shout out to Chad TV. Me and Chad TV had some words before, and
Oh, yeah?
yeah. I'm
Some
gonna
words.
send him my love. So.
all right,
Yeah.
I do agree with Chad on Luke Cage though. Luke Cage was
I haven't seen it. Yet.
incredible.
I haven't seen it.
It was like the perfect culmination of everything from like soundtrack to attitude.
Is it the best of the Netflix Marvel shows?
That's really hard to say.
I've only watched Daredevil and half of Jessica Jones.
I have a really hard time objectively looking at them because I can really see a lot of parallels between Deadpool, Luke, or not Deadpool, sorry, Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Jessica Jones. I personally
Yeah.
was so pleasantly surprised by Jessica Jones because I really got to go in blind on that one. I didn't
Mhm.
know much about her in the
Yeah,
comics.
yeah, I don't either.
And I was just really floored by her performance, and I've really loved David Tennant in the show.
Right,
That was just one of those, like, it was so fresh to me, so I really got to enjoy
That was
that
the same
one.
deal with the Fallout 4. Like, I think we watched half of it, and then like my wife got like she gave birth, and like we stopped consuming all media after that. So like we never really got to finish it. And then what was the other one? Oh, the fourth what's the fourth Netflix? The one that's really bad.
Oh, Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. I've been
No, that's
hesitant.
really terrible.
I'll get there sooner or later.
Jessica Jones, I mean, you were the one that turned me onto that one, and I think that was a very well produced show. I still haven't finished it actually. I got really into it for a while, and then
It was
kind
just, it was brutal.
Well, you know what?
slowed down.
Yeah, what I
for me.
found with those Marvel shows is like the midpoint. Like there's like the episodes in the middle of the arc. You can tell like it's really great at the beginning.
Yes,
It's great at the end, but there is parts where you're like they're clearly stretching out the plot to fill out.
We
the
needed
order.
10
Yeah,
episodes.
we're like we have 13 episodes to fill. We've only got about 7 episodes of story.
Don't
So
think of
let's
them
just-
as a show. Think of them as a 10-hour movie. That's the second act.
But that's,
That's
the thing.
the
Like I feel
expression,
like
which
is always the slow
I feel like
part.
that second act tends to feel a lot slower than some of the other shows. Like I don't know, like Game of Thrones has no real slowdown in the middle of the season. I mean, some of it.
But, come on.
Right?
We talk about that on the podcast. Is that we complain about the buildup on
Oh,
Game of
that's true.
Thrones, where there's build up for 7 to 8 episodes, and then everything falls into
No,
place
that's
as a
true.
domino
You're right.
effect on
You're
the
right.
last 2 episodes, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, they're
But
geniuses!
they're
They
all-
did it again!"
It's still all awesome though.
It is all awesome, but
All right.
a lot of it is build up.
Let's run through a little more on the list from the chat. A couple people were not thrilled with Ant-Man. I did laugh my ass
I
off at
thought it was
Ant-Man.
a funny movie.
I haven't watched that one yet.
It was a big departure. It's hard to even call it a superhero movie. It's a heist movie with a lot of comedy elements. The
Yeah.
cast was fantastic, but I could see where a lot of people were like, all right, this doesn't really fit the mold, but it's good that they're experimenting because otherwise
Yes.
it's going to be the same
I mean,
formula
that's the thing.
every
Like
time.
Marvel's always made the argument that like the genre isn't comic book movies; it's just the lens. Like the genre is a
Mhm.
heist movie or a political thriller or a straight action movie, but it happens to incorporate comic book elements. That's
Right.
how they've tried. I don't know if that's actually
Gadgets,
true.
powers, capes, something of that
Right,
nature
right.
happens in there to kind of round it out, and the
Right.
source material.
Like
of course.
Logan is clearly like it's a western.
Oh
right?
God, yeah.
It's yeah, it's like a western or even like an old almost an ode to a samurai movie that happens to be comic books.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. I haven't seen Ant-Man yet, but I like the idea. I've heard very good things about it, and I like the
You'll
idea.
laugh. You'll
of-
Yeah,
definitely
it's
laugh.
a funny movie.
But that's the whole thing of like to get away from the formulaic comic book movie, introducing things like Ant-Man and Deadpool to really
Yeah.
expand out the universe or the concept
yeah,
of what a
it's-
comic book
it's
movie can
definitely
be.
No coincidence that like Deadpool is like their most successful, Fox's most successful comic book movie because it's completely different from everything else.
Right,
yeah.
Like it,
And it was kind of
And
like
I-
on a shoestring. Like they couldn't even get really
And they make
good
jokes about it, which
side
works
characters.
perfectly into
Yep.
the characterization of Deadpool
absolutely,
himself.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
I know everybody says that Robert Downey Jr. was one of the best casting calls in all of the history of all of the movies.
yeah,
I still say Ryan Reynolds.
It's you could make a really strong
He's-
argument for
he's
that.
That-
Absolutely.
that's one of
money.
those like
Yeah.
someday they're going to make more Iron Man, and Robert Downey Jr. is not going to be in it.
Right.
And when Ryan Reynolds puts down the red cowl, they have to retire that character.
This is a strong prediction, but
That
I
is.
like it. I like it a lot.
yeah.
All right,
Gold.
let's get a few more. Majin Sagi was not thrilled with Hellboy. I find that disappointing. I really enjoyed
that's
Hellboy.
bad.
I liked Hellboy.
I did not watch Hellboy 2, but Hellboy
I
don't
actually
know.
liked Hellboy too.
It had
I thought was
really-
totally underrated.
Look, Hellboy had some really great visuals. Do I remember the storyline at all? No. I mean, like, but I think that was really what they focused on. It was
Fair
kind
enough.
of like watching Pan's Labyrinth to a certain
oh
extent.
yeah,
Yeah, where
that's a
like you're
depressing
watching
movie.
it for visual aspects. It was, yeah, and Pan's Labyrinth arguably had a much more
Obviously, it's all Del Toro.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's very but like it was a very visceral storyline
Yes.
as opposed
Yeah,
to Hellboy.
A few low-hanging fruit, of course, are taking shots at Batman Forever and Batman and Robin. I'd
Yeah.
argue that Batman and Robin is significantly worse than Batman Forever. I still kind of enjoy Jim Carrey in Batman Forever, but I'm
Yeah.
a big fan of the
God.
Riddler.
I mean, it's a pretty low bar. Like they're both pretty terrible. Batman and Robin is definitely far worse though.
But
Oh,
that
yeah.
one also had like Schwarzenegger in that in Batman Forever, right?
that was
Yeah.
Batman and Robin.
That was Batman and Robin had
Yeah,
Schwarzenegger in it. Man,
Schwarzenegger
both of those were
and-
bad.
Was it Uma Thurman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And George
It was-
Clooney,
if
who
I
George
were to
Clooney.
watch
Raymond
those,
rumored to have
Nipples.
gone out and tried to actually give people personal refunds for buying tickets to the movie. That's a rumor I heard.
I remember he showed up for New York Comic Con to talk about to promote Tomorrowland, and I remember he was just like he was super apologetic about Batman and Robin. Still, like Tomorrowland came out
Unbelievable.
like last year, 2 years ago, and Batman and Robin came out like what
Right.
25 years.
Right,
It's like
right.
I'm still sorry,
no,
guys.
but like the kid from like the Anakin Skywalker kid.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
the
Christensen.
same thing. It's the same thing.
But
he was
Like,
showing
up at
the-
Celebration
The
this year.
original. No,
Which-
no,
the
for, like,
little kid,
the
like-
first one, the little
What's
kid.
his name?
Jake Lloyd.
Jake Lloyd.
Yes.
Yeah.
He'll be apologizing his whole life.
No, he'll be in jail.
Okay,
What?
that's true.
Yeah, he got arrested.
Really?
Yeah, he lost his mind, went on like a car chase or something like that, and he's like,
Kid actors.
Jeez.
Kid
Yeah.
actors.
I know, man. If
he
you're a
bottomed out.
parent,
It's kind of sad.
never let your kid be in a Star Wars movie.
Yes. Never let your kid be famous.
Dylan says obviously Dark Knight's got to be up there on top of the list.
Oh,
there's a list
no
in
one's
the
gonna
best.
It's the
argue.
best movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
sure. Oh my
Um,
God.
Scott's asking, do we think if Netflix is ever going to release the Marvel shows on Blu-ray? I think they will, but I think they're going to wait and do a big box, don't you? Since they're all kind of an interweaved giant movie together
Yeah,
in a
I
sense.
can see that.
I think
can
we'll
see
wait
that.
to the end of Defenders, and then maybe you'll get a Blu-ray. This is all just speculation on my part. I think it'd be cool if you could just buy drop 200 bones and get a big Blu-ray box of all of it.
I'm not to
Maybe.
not to quibble with our viewer too much, but why do that? You're paying like what is it, $9 or $10 a month for
Right.
Netflix. They're never going to remove those because those are Netflix shows. Why buy a Blu-ray?
Touche.
Like a Blu-ray
That's
box.
true.
But they've released
too.
other Netflix shows on disc. People still like shelf porn.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
well,
always going
which
to be a
ones?
thing.
I guess it
Which
depends which
ones?
shows though.
Orange is the New Black.
Okay.
That's on DVD.
It doesn't make a
Yeah.
lot of sense to me. As a consumer, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me to buy them as Blu-rays.
If
You're a
you
consumer,
already-
not a collector.
Right. That's true.
There is,
That's
yeah, there's
true.
definitely a market there for folks who like to have that on their shelf.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay.
Assad is saying that he was really upset that they kind of killed Superman and Batman v Superman. Spoilers. Sorry, everybody. Will
Dude, he's not
just
dead.
Will
included-
Superman recover
included in the
from the wound, or is he
description.
gone forever? He's definitely not gone
Yeah,
forever.
he's
Come
not
on.
dead.
Cavill's been on the
Also,
set of Justice League.
That was my biggest issue. Well, not it's one of my biggest issues with Batman Superman is like they killed Superman, and now that they bring him back, like there's never any kind of sense of jeopardy for Superman. Right?
Mhm.
There's never
It's true.
even if he dies, you're like, well, he's not dead.
Well, that's
He just
been the
came
problem
back.
with comic books in general.
Right, but the thing of it is like maybe you do it in movie 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, but like right off the bat they kill him, and I'm like, well, you just like it's like it is a storytelling tool for sure. Like
Mhm.
the death and resurrection of a comic book character, sure.
is one of the many
Yes.
tools that they use.
But like, why do it on movie 1 or movie 2 for Superman? Right, like they just introduced Batman, they killed off Superman right away.
Yeah, they're
Like,
just they're pedal to the metal. They're blasting through this
Right.
stuff, and it's not working. And I want to be cautiously optimistic because I was a Justice League kid. I grew up on Batman and Green
Mhm.
Lantern. I
Yeah.
want it to be great, but I'm not blind. It's not great yet.
Are you disappointed that Green Lantern isn't going to be in the Justice League movie?
There's still these weird rumors floating around that he's like a secret that shows up at the end kind of thing.
Yeah.
I call BS. I know that they're going to bring Green
It's
Lantern
actually
back.
Ryan Reynolds. He'll just show back up.
No, he won't. He'll never put that costume on
I
again.
know,
But
I
I
know.
want to see Green Lantern again. I want him to get that one right. I love Green Lantern.
Aren't there all the rumors are that it'll be the John Stewart version? Like
That'd be
the-
awesome because so many
the
of us grew up on
African-American
the Justice League Unlimited animated
Yeah,
series where he was
that's what I grew
the
up on.
feature.
Yep.
And only Kyle Rayner kind of showed up in the Superman animated series, and Hal Jordan kind of popped in and out.
There were a lot of Green Lanterns.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys have totally lost me. That's some heavy geekdom right there.
All right, so before we wrap it up, because we are going way long today,
Yeah.
we really got to get back to the task at hand of Brolin being able to cross over.
That's right.
Mhm.
So what do I mean? Okay, here's my perspective. Brolin's a tremendous actor. Thanos is a puppet. I mean, he's basically voice acting it.
Yeah. yeah.
They'll probably
That's true.
there's got to be mocap involved, so
But is
on and
it-
so
is
forth.
there,
It
like-
doesn't really
is it-
look
is it
like him.
mocap, or is there like it's not actually him with makeup, right?
No,
It's
it's
just
going to be a
purely
CG,
CG?
render. Yeah,
Okay.
much like the Hulk, but the
Well,
Hulk
then
resembles Ruffalo.
Yeah.
You just answered the question. Then it would be very easy to do that.
I think it would. I don't think this rules out anything.
Mhm.
I mean, that was a really kind of weak payout for a long,
I know.
drawn out
We're
conversation.
know.
very sorry, YouTube watchers.
But what do we
You
think?
can-
What do we think?
You
of-
can complain incessantly in the comments.
No, I
section.
would say that. I mean, yes, logistically, I don't think it's that hard to put those two together. I think it's more what it says about the relationship between those two studios. That like Fox just went off and like basically nabbed the key villain in like the Disney Marvel universe to play, a main character in one of their big movies.
Mhm.
And I think it just sort of it foreshadows the fact that if ever there was an attempt to bridge these two universes, like it would be hard.
Yeah,
really
I mean,
difficult.
from
They're
a
not-
business
yeah, they're not
standpoint,
considering
we're
Disney.
realistically looking that it's probably not going
Right.
to happen. As
that
much
if-
as we'd
if
love
I'm
to
a
see
Fox
it.
executive, I'm like, nope, screw you guys. We're doing really well. Logan's doing really well.
We got our
Deadpool's
own
awesome.
Josh Brolin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And
yeah,
Brolin's
okay,
like, 2
that makes
paychecks?
sense.
Okay.
yeah, I
Of
know,
course,
right?
of course. These comic book movies are just cash machines.
Brolin's
you
a
know?
tremendous actor, though. Like, that was a good casting call for Cable. I was kind of had my hopes up. Like, when they said Pierce Brosnan was kind of hanging out there
Pierce
for a second,
Brosnan.
I was really shocked. And then I went, no, that'd be kind of good, right?
Really?
Yeah, right. Because my thought is he kind of resembles James Marsden, who plays Cyclops, who played
Oh,
Scott Summers is-
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
if Pierce Brosnan has I don't know.
the heft. The
Yeah, the
physical heft.
fair
I
enough.
have-
And that's
By the
definitely
way-
And also,
where
would he speak
Brolin
with
is.
it? Would he speak
there
with
By
in
the way,
spades.
we did not address the fact that Josh Brolin was already in a different comic book movie, right?
Jonah
Wasn't he?
Hex.
Yeah, which was
It's the
like
worst
a horrible.
movie ever.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
I
Speaking
watched-
of terrible comic
This
book
was
movies.
like Megan
That's the
Fox
point.
Kiss of,
Yeah.
that was a
You couldn't
Megan
even
Fox
remember
Kiss of Death
it.
movie.
That's right.
Yeah.
What a shame.
I didn't
Yeah.
watch that movie
I didn't
either,
watch
by
it,
the way,
yeah.
because I had heard so many bad things about it, and I think that was one of the movies that essentially killed Megan Fox's career.
Tom
'Cause
Jane
they were
wanted
like,
to play that role.
now that anytime you're in a movie, like it just does horribly. So,
Truth.
yeah.
Thomas Jane wanted the Punisher.
No, Tom Jane was the Punisher
Right,
for the
right.
first movie, and then he wanted to play Jonah Hex. I think he should have played Jonah Hex. He'd have been a much better cast.
Right.
In fact, he did like his own reel for it. He at least did the makeup and took photos trying to pitch to get the role.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that guy, he deserves a good comic book role. He's a
He
good
does.
actor. He's a great dude.
And he clearly
did
is
an
passionate
awesome,
about the subject matter.
He did an incredible sequel. You can find it on YouTube. It's called Dirty Laundry. It's
Yes.
a Punisher.
Yeah, it's
let's
like a
say
short.
It's a 10-minute thing, but
Yeah, yeah.
man, it's better than every other Punisher incantation on film so far.
Including his own.
Except for the Netflix series, and not to
Right.
take anything away from, I can't remember the actor's name.
I know he plays Shane in The
John
Walking Dead.
Barenthal.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as like the filmish versions go, that Tom Jane short, Dirty Laundry, look it up. It's awesome. It's brutally violent, though. Warning.
That's
Good.
That's why I like it.
Nice.
Well, yeah, but some people don't have
Yeah.
the stomach for it.
All right, it's a good way to wrap things up.
Yeah,
And-
that was
and
fun.
Brutal violence.
And Brian, I bow to your great comic book knowledge.
Oh, I can keep
well
going.
done,
It's
sir.
encyclopedic for
Yes.
sure.
It's
All right.
quite impressive.
I don't know if I'm going to put that on a resume.
All right. If you liked anything you saw or heard here, check us out on CNET. Our podcast is also available on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Feedburner, and Google Play Music. We will see you all next week.
Nice.
Later.